Greetings, salutations, happy Friday, May 22nd, 2026. Welcome to Backstage, the show where we take you behind the scenes of the bigger stage, have a little fun, fill you in, and hopefully inspire a thought or two as we go into the weekend. That's right, we're back to Backstage on Friday, keeping the cadence. I wanted to also keep a tradition from the last format, a little bit of trivia. So on this day, well, I usually call it the information you didn't know you couldn't live without. So let's go with that. On this day, in 1906, the patent was granted for the Wright brothers' quote-unquote flying machine. The American Cancer Society was founded on this day in 1913. The Space Needle Foundation in Seattle was poured on this day in 1961. And the first permanent IMAX theater opened in Toronto in 1971 on this day. 1971, the first IMAX in Toronto, of all places. So hello to our friends up there in Canada. I've got one more piece of trivia that I will hold till the end in a few minutes. But I wanted to get that out. All right, it's been a week, and it has been a week. Every week is kind of like that. Exhausting, exhilarating, all of it. It's just a big roller coaster ride. So, but I'm having fun, with the clients are the best. The clients are getting to work with people and bring out their stories is truly one of the greatest things ever. And I think one of my intentions for this year and this next business chapter was for the business to be rooted in holding up a mirror that shows you how great you really are already. It doesn't mean we don't have areas for improvement, right? But people are way better than they think they are a lot of the time. And helping people to see that is really at the core of it. And if you see it and you can project it, other people are going to see it even more. They already see it to some degree, but allowing yourself to believe it, I think helps it come out, helps it flower, helps you really live in the truth that you have great gifts, that you are special, all of those things. And so we can both be, healthfully self-critical and dedicated to learning and growing, but also proud in the best possible sense of who we are, what we've accomplished, the way that we think, and then get on with the journey of, developing ideas with people, helping other people out. So that I'm seeing in spades. I've got a client who's seeing the potential for our conversations to turn into a book. He's looking at it going, oh my goodness, I'm further along than I thought, other clients are just, there's a recognition out there right now that I'm seeing that there is a lot of noise. Social media is in many ways, unfortunately, much like the scene in Star Wars in the garbage chute, where it's just full of crap, and there's snakes down below, and maybe at some point you feel like the walls are closing in too on you, that you're just getting crushed, So I guess that I'm going to go with that metaphor, the Star Wars trash chute, for anyone who's remembers that. But I'm starting to also pivot my way of thinking about social media and LinkedIn in particular. I've been speaking with someone named Heidi Medina, and she calls herself a conversation strategist or a relationship strategist? Anyway, I now I've forgotten. I'm so sorry, Heidi. I'll have to go back and look. Maybe I'll just check real quick. I think it's a conversation strategist is what it is. But, we had this session where we talked about how to look at social media. Yeah, conversation strategist. That's the first thing I said, isn't it? And I had to admit to her that I have, over the years, as much as I became a LinkedIn top voice, I've posted semi-consistently for years. I've tried to put out thoughtful stuff on LinkedIn, not just throwaway stuff, thoughtful pieces. And Some are more thoughtful than others, that's for sure. But I think on balance, that's what I try and put out there. But I knew that my orientation towards LinkedIn, as far as the relationship building piece of it, and I'm a relationship builder, so it's not about not being a relationship builder, but seeing the platform as kind of having a, if I'm honest, a quiet disdain for all social media, which seems like a contradiction, but if I have to admit it, I think this is a commonly held belief. It's like if you have necessary evil in your head about it, how does that frame the way that you engage on the platform? And I admittedly find myself sometimes kind of posting and running because I just don't even want to look at my feed. And I've had a bit of a paradigm shift, and I knew I needed one. And Heidi is really helping me to see. I even said, I know I'm looking at this. My mind is probably corrupted. And so we've already started talking about, the mindset of going on there with a different purpose, and allowing, I'll just speak for myself, allowing myself to really see it as a room full of people. And in that room full of people, just like I'm walking around a cocktail party or a networking event or a cafe somewhere, to try and treat it like that. I mean, it is an online source, and so it is different in some ways, but there are ways that we can shift our mindset about it. Anyway, one conversation with her, and I really started to allow myself to go where I knew I needed to go, which was a different perspective about it, and it's already helping. So I'm going to be more and more intentional about LinkedIn and how I'm using it, in not that I'm changing what I'm doing, but adding new behaviors to it, really. It's not changing what I'm doing. I'm doing the foundational work, but doing a next level of engagement, because I do think that really matters. Engagement, content plus engagement is really important. For the content to have more meaning and for the relationships to be more accessible so people can see what you're all about, you need your content to kind of show something about you. So I've got one half of that, and the other one I just knew I needed to focus on. So that's kind of a next stage that we're coming to at the bigger stage. And I also think that it takes a little bit of time when you're developing a brand to find the voice and everything. So sometimes I will hesitate when I'm figuring things out, and how many of you can relate to that, right? So, but we'll be switching things up there. Working with a Hollywood celebrity, comedian. I'm not going to give away too many details now, but we are working on a project that I think could honestly revolutionize an approach to corporate development and communication, particularly in certain communities, and something I'm just really bringing the intention that I set out to have, which was a little bit more entertainment, more Hollywood meeting business, more fun, more playfulness, and we are working on a project right now to bring exactly that to cities around America initially, that will deliver both meaningful development, communication development, storytelling development, and entertainment and visibility for companies. So a real celebration of communities and business, and what makes a community really, really great, which is the people who are there, who are working and building and connecting and adding value. And so I will be talking about that more when it's more public, but I'll leave it there. It's just, I think one of the things about television really going away and being replaced by, I should say, linear television going away and being replaced by a far more, is it balkanized? I don't know. I'm not sure the right word, but basically choose your own adventure. We're not all watching the same thing. And so now there's even more competition out in the marketplace. It's easier to put your stuff out there, but there's so much more stuff out there that it's harder than ever to get attention. But we're not all pitching to studios anymore. We're pitching to the market. understandable, that, well, we're pitching to the market with the thumb of algorithms on us. So we have that constraint. But even with that and other issues, you still have a chance if you got a good enough idea and you're willing to put yourself out there. So anyway, I'll stop. God, I can't talk yet. I haven't had my whole coffee. I'll stop talking in the abstract and just let you know that we've got something really, really exciting that kind of bridges business and entertainment and leadership development. So that's pretty cool. What else? Yeah, I think I'm going to leave it there. Now, back to the trivia. I want to talk about this and close out with this. On this day, where is it? Let's get my thing back here. Yep, on this day in 1843, a train of 100 plus wagons left Independence, Missouri for the state of Oregon, which of course is my birth state. I wouldn't say home state. I mean, if I have a home state, I suppose that's it. I do feel a very familiarity with Oregon, and it's where I was born. So I went to undergrad there, went to high school and junior high there, but moved so much around it. So it's a home state, but a home state from a distance is how it feels. Anyway, lots of love, many family members there. So go there. We'll be going there forever. Whether we live there ever again, not sure, but love the place. All right. So I was thinking about this. So anything about Oregon makes me feel that. But then I thought about this train of 100 plus wagons, and I actually had to look this up. It's been so long since I've studied the history of the Oregon Trail and that period of time. And according to the quick research I did, because I was trying to remember how many people actually made it. And, correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is, in revisiting the history of that most of the people who left in that 100 plus wagon train actually made it to Oregon. What didn't make it were their wagons. And in fact, the Willamette Valley, I don't think any wagon made it on land to Willamette Valley. Most of them didn't make it even to Oregon. They just broke down on the way. But, apparently the furthest any of those wagons made it is to a place called the Dalles in Oregon, which is, a bit far away from the valley, which is where everybody really wanted to go. And, but most of the people made it. And I just think about that now. I mean, some horrendous stuff happens when you travel over land without the technology we have today. There's many, many stories, sickness, all kinds of things. But I do think that, that book by Marshall Goldsmith, What Got You Here Won't Take You There. And sometimes what gets you to where you're at changes while you're getting there. And I think that's the sort of metaphor of that wagon train of the Oregon Trail, is that, the vehicle that you're in to take you for a distance, whether it's a franchise you bought. I mean, I remember my first business was a franchise painting business. And there were some problems with the franchise. It had us doing things that were not legal in the state of Oregon. And that's the way they trained you. They were training us to do like a piece rate, which means paying by job. And under Oregon labor law, you had to pay hourly. And so we were trained to do one thing. And then when I found out that we were being trained to do something that was going to get me in legal trouble, I stopped. I said, well, I'm not going to do that. It broke my trust with that franchisor. But that doesn't mean that it wasn't worth the experience. I would not do it differently again. I'm so glad I did that experience. It was so valuable to be able to stand up a business with the help of a franchisor, have the branding and everything